Do you remember that your family always had a radio?
I remember being pretty small, and we had a radio. You see that cabinet there?
Yes.
It was a little bit lower than that and extremely heavy. Once they put it, and it had as most of them did that, it had a curved top. And it was an extremely heavy piece of furniture.
Mm-hmm.
And if it had to be moved, like there were great big dust balls in back of it, it had to be moved. It took two people just to pull it forward a little bit. It was extraordinary.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And do you remember what you used to listen to?
Well, we listened to somebody, the magician.
Mandrake the Magician?
What?
Mandrake the Magician?
I think it must have been Mandrake the magician. Yeah. Did he have a mustache?
I don't know, because it was
right.
radio. But he was in the comic book. He was in the comic strips too, I believe.
It's possible, yeah. Yeah.
But you didn't read comics.
What?
You didn't read the comics.
Well, I think I'm having listened to it on the radio, I may have seen it in the comic. And then started to look at it. But I didn't read it for long, because it was stupid. The radio was really good.
What else did you listen to?
Well, I've got the times all mixed up. They used to have a variety show that may have been much later, Ed Sullivan.
Oh, that was on television.
Oh, it was? It was on the radio, too. Shortly before it went on to television. Yes, definitely.
Because I remember we used to, as a family, watch the Ed Sullivan Show together on Sunday nights at 8 o'clock.
That's right. Well, this was on Sunday nights, too, but it was maybe a year earlier.
Do you remember stuff that you saw on Ed Sullivan?
Well, it was a variety show, and they kept on having the same people on. They had a guy, I think, who was an Irish tenor, whose name I forget, so he wasn't, like Bing Crosby or anything. And they had magicians, quite a few of them, because they were very good for television. They could do all sorts of tricks. And they had some tap dancers. They had a lot of those. And comedians. Some of them famous, but I don't remember any of them now. And they had girl singers. And some of them were quite famous, but I forget who they are now.
The Andrews Sisters.
What?
The Andrews Sisters.
They did have the Andrews Sisters. I never understood why they had them in the first place. They were all very ugly, the three of them. And they couldn't sing, otherwise they were fine.
You once told me that your father had to settle disputes as to who would listen to what on the radio. How did he adjudicate those arguments?
My father said, "No more arguing. That's all you two girls do is argue. Nobody could do anything else." So we sort of grumped through dinner that night. But the next night, my father came home carrying what was, I have to laugh at this, a radio that was so light you could carry it around. What's that called?
A portable radio.
A portable radio, thank you. For Natalie, so she could have it in her room and listen to what she wanted, and I could listen to what I wanted. The only thing that was funny about it was that this, quote, portable was so heavy that my father, attempting to carry it upstairs, almost fell down the stairs. He was clutching at things. It was about that big and about that tall with a huge handle like that. And you know, he was only 5'2". And he was meant to carry that thing upstairs. And we thought he was going to bust a gut. And my mother was screaming, "Put it down, Louie. Put it down, you'll hurt yourself." And he was waving her off. And he carried it up all the way. And he didn't do another thing for the whole evening. He just sat there. It must have weighed 40 pounds. That was the portable. So he took it upstairs. Oh, and to make it even worse, the whole thing was wrapped in heavy leather, which is heavy enough by itself. But it had all these works inside of it. And but anyway, that solved the problem.
How old were you?
I think I was in my teens, my early teens. Yeah.